Hi guys, I'm Anna Bubola, and I will talk with you today about the LinkedIn advantage and maximizing your impact to get more leads. So I will just double check that you can all see me, and if you have any questions at all, you can just pop them in the comments, and I will look at them at the end of our session. Okay, so let's just dive right into it and get through this together. First of all, really appreciate you joined. I was having this closed session with just a few of my clients, but I was really overwhelmed by your response, and I'm really happy to hold all the session here with all of you. Now, why LinkedIn? And of course, most of you know why you're here. But I see it as a huge opportunity to really just connect with like-minded people. So I think, LinkedIn is unlike any other social media platform. If you take Instagram, you would uh, very much focus on your personal life and your pictures and very personal stories. If you take Facebook, I think now it turned a lot to ads, but if you take LinkedIn, it's a professional network that has this buzz to it that really connects people in a very unique way altogether. So there are over 760 million professionals on this platform. I think it's a lot more today. I have the stats also per region, but every continent has its own unique presence, and it's huge and it's buzzing and it's really coming up very strong today. And if LinkedIn really started as a platform where you would put mostly your CV on and way of showcasing your experiences and your jobs and how that goes. Now it's becoming a platform to really connect people, get into opportunities, business, and not only. So, anyways, that is what LinkedIn is all about, and I think that that's why all of you are here as well. Now, while it's a fantastic tool and platform, I know it really feels like a maze, and I purposely, made this particular slide look so busy because that's how it feels. Especially if you are in the beginning, especially if you are just starting out and wondering, what do I do? Okay, how do I tackle this platform? Do I use it only, to put my jobs there, my resumes, my experiences, or how can I use it to actually get a little more out of it? And I know how it feels because I have been there, and you have been there as well. I have started my journey on LinkedIn more intensively only like 4 months ago, so beginning of this year. And of course, I had my resume updated for several years now, but I have never used it until this year to its full potential. And I know that that first day when you decide, okay, let's try this platform and see what the buzz is all about, how it feels, and you're active and still you are having no visibility. You don't have any engagement. There are a few likes. One of them is yours usually. And if you are into it for business, you definitely don't have leads from the first days. Okay, now I know there is a lot of advice out there, and I don't pretend to be a guru myself, so I'm here just to share with you my experiences, what worked for me, and what works for my clients. I'm not at the level of Gary Vee, and to be frank, I don't want to be at that level, and I'll tell you why in a bit. So, again, take what I'm saying as a personal experience and you take it with your pinch of salt and you apply it to what works best for you. But what I can tell you that you don't have to do is you don't have to spend more time on the platform. You don't have to comment to everyone. You don't have to send a lot of DMs. You don't have to send a lot of connections. You don't have to put all your selfies out there and talk about your kids and your cats and what you have done in vacation. That's not what vulnerability is all about. You don't have to get on pods. You don't have to post more or act smart or use a certain language or use those keywords that you think that will create engagement. You don't have to buy any particular apps in order to have higher influence and engagement here. They help, but they help in a limited way. I'll show exactly how to do everything you want to do by using just LinkedIn. And you definitely don't need only new pictures in order to really make it big here. Okay, now, following only this advice and stepping out of your comfort zone and starting on LinkedIn can really feel like this. This was one of my very first posts on LinkedIn, and I actually took a picture of it because it was just so fun, to look at. So I had one like and one repost, and that was my own. And I know that many of you really are in the same position, and you are having so much to offer, and there is so much, value and experiences behind what you're doing. But when you just post chaotically or when you're just starting, you might have posts that look just like this. Okay, and definitely not leads, or even worse. Okay, so the question really that I ask myself when I have been through LinkedIn a bit, and that I strongly recommend you to do as well, is, are you in for the vanity metrics, or are you in for leads and for meaningful connections? So are you chasing leads or are you chasing likes? And of course you can have both, but it's important to really be very clear what you're chasing on, what are your goals on in the beginning, because what you focus on is definitely what you will get as well. So let's get to some of the good stuff now. My previous week on LinkedIn, and again, I'm on this platform since mid of January, a little more actively. And I had about a couple of hundred of connections, all of them work related, and of course never really engaged with them. Some of them clients from my company, and that was it. So I managed to grow in just a month to over 3K followers. And I don't think that particularly represents something because it's not such a big amount, but that particular amount and that engagement generated me and for my clients a lot of revenue that put me into the landscape of LinkedIn and helped me to realize that there is a huge potential on this platform and see how to use it best. So these are some of my stats. I think what is important when you look at your stats, and these are some of the stats that I took from Taplio, but you can have exactly the same thing on LinkedIn, is to see the progress, and to see the progress compared to you from where you were, and see what worked, what didn't work. So for example, if you look at I don't know, the number of engagements, you can see when you had spikes, what you did at that period of time, when you had low periods of time, and how did you get through that. So don't look at them only as numbers, but look as progress, learn from them, and see what you can definitely do differently. Okay, and how I generated those stats just in the last week is with content like this. So I had from 4,000, 40,000 impressions to about 2K impressions, and some of them have been a little below, some of them have been above. But the point is that I have, if you look at it, it's all related to one specific topic that I am becoming more and more engaged with on this platform, and it shows and is consistent. And I truly believe that that's the reason why these stats are showing as well, these numbers. Okay. Yeah, and because I don't think that numbers alone and the number of impressions are really what is the most important thing. I wanted to show you just a snapshot of some of the messages that I got in the DMs. I'm in the service business. I know that some of you are as well. Some of you maybe are looking for building their authority, so they're not chasing leads, but rather opportunities. But if you see those opportunities, it leads as well, then you would want messages like this in your inbox. So, how do we work together, and let's see the results. Okay, so how do we get to that? And how do we get to better results even for you? And I think that that's what you are here as well for. I'm going to really talk about this little structure exactly in this order, because I think that first of all, before changing anything in your strategy, you need to start with what are your goals. What are exactly your goals on this platform? What do you want to achieve? How and from whom? And once you are identifying that for you, what is your long term goal? What is your short term goal? Then it's really important to understand with whom are you talking to. And how we define that is something you have heard as well often, that ICP, who is your ideal client persona? Who is your ideal audience? Or, very simply put, whom are you talking to? If you know these two things, so what is your goal or your why, if you want, and who is your tribe, with whom are you talking to, then the rest becomes so easy, because you can create the content that it's fitting your goal and your target audience. You can optimize your profile because you know what do people who are coming to your page want to see. You can engage effectively, and you can definitely use the LinkedIn algorithm in your advantage as well. Okay, let's dive right in. What are your goals? Now, of course, for everyone, this is a bit different. And let me be very clear from the beginning. I don't think that setting one goal in stone right now means that you have to stick to it for your entire life. I have changed careers many times. I have moved from corporation roles to entrepreneurial roles. I have started and, successfully managed several businesses. I have failed in some as well. So my goals obviously were adapted to my situation. And I think that yours will be as well. So what you're setting up right now doesn't have to be your ultimate goal in life. If you are very clear about that, it's fantastic and go with it. But know that you can also adjust it while you are going. So a very simple way to really do that in terms of your personal brand on LinkedIn is to look at two things. Do you want to build authority, or do you want to build influence? Do you want to become the go-to authority in your field, or do you want to be that influencer that is always in trend and people are following and liking about? The difference between the two is major. Again, it doesn't mean you cannot be both. But in the beginning, in order to start, you need to focus on something. You cannot be both in the beginning unless, I don't know, unless you are, born in a family that has that huge reputation, and you can actually do that. But, I haven't been in that case. So, and many of us are not. So focus on this one thing. Do I want to build authority, or do I want to build influence? This will tell you also how to strategize your content, your presence on the platform, your branding, your ideal client, and is going to make it so easy for you to really implement. What does it mean to be an influencer? An influencer is that person who has a huge following, and who obviously can post anything about any particular subject, and becomes immediately seen, and is the trendsetter, if you want. I think that on this platform you can look at people like Gary Vee or Simon Sinek, okay, for that influencer profile that has also the depth of some authority in it as well. And what do I mean by building authority? Building authority is for everyone who is particularly good in what they're doing. They know what they want to achieve, and they want to be that go to person in terms of a particular service or product. If you are a CEO of a company, you want to build your authority. If you are a new founder of a startup, you want to build your authority. If you are a service provider, if you are a consultant, if you are a coach, then you want to build your authority. You can become an influencer as well later, but I hope you see what I mean by these two little differences, and why it's important to really be very clear on them as well. Okay. Um, so obviously you can have them both, but I'll underline this. It's really important to master one first. And it's the same thing with, do I go on LinkedIn and on all the other platforms at the same time? Or do I go only on one platform? Why can't I have a LinkedIn and a YouTube and an Instagram page at the same time? The thing is, everything takes focus and effort. So if you have the time, the energy, and the money, the resources to really put in several platforms and in becoming both an authority and an influencer, by all means do it. Okay, if you have a team to support you, to really back you with all of that, and if you have the knowledge to do it, and all of that time resources, then do it. If you are particularly tight on time, and maybe your resources as well, then build one first, go to the others later as well. Okay, now who is your ideal audience? And that the ideal client persona that I was talking about. So if you, and this is why I told you that it's so important to be clear at least on, are you becoming an influencer or an authority builder? And then of course your particular goals. If you want to become an influencer, then your ideal audience will want and need information from you that is related to things that are becoming influential, right? So, trends, news, fun facts, inspiration. So it's mostly it's quite a broad area, and you can still niche it down to a particular industry or field maybe, but they would be looking for things that give them that how to say burst of energy and an immediate feeding their hunger for information. If you want to build your authority, maybe you are a university professor, let's say, okay, and you want to ensure that the projects that you are building within your faculty are seen by the people who want to invest in them. Maybe you are developing, a collaboration on a particular topic and subject, and you do want the eyes on it. Or maybe, again, you are a sales leader who is very much looking to establish collaborations with clients interested to increase their operations efficiency in the pharma industry. So you will want to build authority in that field. And then your ideal audience will be interested not in fashion, right, but will be interested in what is particular to operations improvement in the pharma industry. So that's why I'm saying that defining your ideal audience is the very next step that will take you to understanding how your content strategy is. Okay, and this is how I do it. Just give me a second. Okay, so I can explain you better with the template. There are maybe two words that I particularly dislike. One is template, one is but. However, I am going to use them both in the next sentence because I am going to look at a template that I use to really define my ideal personas, my ICP, and that helps me a lot. So, how do I do that? Okay, now the client persona, the better, or let me put it this way, the more detailed it is and the more tangible, the more real it is, the better you will know how to talk to them. And at a minimum, you should know, what are their field of interests, what are their wants, needs, and fears. Okay, so the way I do it is to really just go through a few things like this. I start by giving them a title. Okay, I give them also an age bracket. I think about their education level. even their gender. It might be not, some of these might not be essential, but in some cases there might be. If you are, for example, doing, your products in your company are women lingerie, then of course you will need a gender as well, right? Income level, location, and then professional background. What are their frustrations, fears, desires, and buying behavior and content they find useful? Okay, now I know it's quite a list, but there is a very, very simple way to get to know this information if you really start with your goals. So, for goals and challenges for my particular ideal client, you can even take information from outside, like I have in this little template here, and think about, what would they really want. Do they want to find a new job? Do they want media exposure? Do they want to make more money, etc.? So you can obviously fill in with what you're looking for. Values and beliefs, spending and purchasing habits. Do they make purchases based on special offers, or do they make purchases based on price? So think about all these nitty gritty little ideas. It is an effort that will take you a bit of time in the beginning. But once you're doing this, it will become so clear and so easy to work your content out that it will be impossible not to really grow. And you will see that you don't have to make more than three ideal client personas in the beginning, because those three can be the core of your presence, let's say. And when I say buying persona, it doesn't have to be someone who buys something particularly from you. Maybe you don't have a product, maybe you don't have a service, maybe you just want, collaborations and opportunities for growth. But think about that as also a lead, so who would be there to be engaged with you, to be interested in your experiences, in your values, in what you have shared, that would want to interact with you and establish meaningful relationships. So replace buying, if you want, with a relationship in this case. Okay. Now, if you want some help and inspiration, I truly believe that also AI can be used for the same. I will talk about the power of ChatGPT and AI in today's world. I have played as well with this one in order to get a buyer persona, and it's an easy way to get inspired, but with the caveat that you obviously are better if you are refining it. So you can use a prompt like this to help you define your ideal audience. So and here you put your role. In my case, for example, as a digital marketing specialist, as a CEO of of a technology company, as a uh, founder of a startup that deals with SaaS in B2B. Okay, create an audience persona including pain points, frustrations, fears, and desires, and buying behavior, and content they find helpful and useful to achieve their goals. Okay, the key being who you are, okay, what you're doing, and pain points, frustrations, fears, desires, buying behavior, content they find helpful and useful. I am a then, so this is your role, a little more specific. Who does, okay, and here fill in with what you're doing, content strategy and execution, for example. For, and who your um, bucket audience is, okay, or you can just put your goals here if you are not sure and if it's too broad. But I have a hunch that you should know this, right, a little more. And then, you should get to something at least like this, you know. So, Emily, a young professional who is health conscious and environmentally aware, she's looking for cleaning products that are safe for her family and the planet and that are effective at cleaning her home. She's willing to pay a premium for high quality, sustainable products. Okay, this is an example. Then you take Emily, who is one of your ideal clients and you make an action plan for them, like where do you find Emily? What type of forums would she be in? What kind of title jobs will she have? How do you find her on LinkedIn? With whom would she interact? What information she would consume? Okay. And then you make a plan of how to find her, and then how to interact with her, and how to reach out to her in order to share your content and establish that meaningful relationship with her. Let's take another example. Okay, and this is something that I have done for my own business. Sarah Chen, okay, an emerging B2B leader. Okay, she would be in her 30s. She would have a master degree. She would be highly educated. She would have a high income. She would live probably somewhere on the western coast of US. She would be, has a professional background, an emerging leader in a business, in a B2B AI startup that offers intelligent solutions for businesses, held various tech roles before stepping into a leadership position. Sounds familiar? Passionate about utilizing AI to transform businesses, operations, and drive efficiency. Okay, so you see, it's broad enough, but in the same time, it's also quite specific. Okay, then what would her pain points be? And she would struggle to establish a credible personal brand that sets her apart in a predominantly male dominant tech industry. Okay, I think this is a very real one. And you see already the fact that you already identify such a pain point. I'm sure that it gives you a lot of ideas of, hey, how can I help her? How can I be of value to this person, to Sarah Chen? Okay, and what can I share with her from my experience that would actually help her with her pain? Okay. She might have also difficulty in translating complex tech concepts into engaging content that resonates with her audience. Tell me this is not familiar, right? So we are so used with corporate jargon, and especially if we are in a tech business, we are so used to use specific language that only our very close entourage or colleagues, or maybe our fellow engineers will understand. But when you put that online, it's just mumble bumble. Nobody understands it, and it's a pity, because on a platform like LinkedIn, if you talk in a way that people understand what you are doing, then you will definitely have much more opportunities and growth for you, your business, or your company. She might balances the challenges of leading a team, driving innovation, and building a personal brand. So, this again, this is an example, right? Then I go to her frustrations. Then I go to her fears. Then I go to her desires. So let's take some fears. Her personal brand, one of her fear might be that her personal brand is not strong enough to attract potential investors and partnerships. Okay, another one, missing out on opportunities due to lack of visibility in the industry. Okay, let's not forget that Sarah Chan is a young woman, highly educated, in a high position right now, and she might be wondering, like many of us are, if I just stick to this one thing, as I have also the other passions and things I know how to do, would that be good for me? Am I missing opportunities right here? What to do? Okay. Another one could be inability to effectively inspire and lead her team due to poor personal branding. Okay, so definitely, again, one area that if Sarah is your ideal client, then you can help her with by sharing information of how to inspire, lead the team through her own leadership, and how to put herself out there. Okay, and then, I go to desires as well, and I try to also think of what would Sarah Chen in this case would have as desires. And once I have this, and of course you can refine them, and they don't have to be three, they can be five, they can be 10, it can be one. Okay, it has to be as per your ideal client. Then I am thinking about buying behaviors. Now, in this case, Sarah might invest in professional development opportunities such as online courses and leadership coaching. because of her fears, desires, and pain points that we just talked about above. It makes sense, right? She might prefer solutions that are backed by evidence, testimonials, and case studies. Of course, she will, right? So she's a smart, educated person. So she doesn't want just fluff. She doesn't want solutions that are just buzz. She wants to know the real thing, and she wants to know that what she invests in is something that she can test and see how it performed on others as well. She values personalization. She values customer centric experiences. I think everybody does that, but in this particular case, nobody would want the templates, right? So you want a personalized experience. You want something that works for you. And the best example I can give you here is people who are posting what to post. So take this template and use it, and post this. Of course, it doesn't work for everyone, right? So it has to work for your own niche, if I can put it like that. It has to work for your own audience. It has to work for your values, experience, etc. So never just go with this what has worked for someone, it will work for me. It might for a couple of minutes, but it will not be a sustained effort. Okay, and then I go as well through content they find useful in order to so let me show you the entire thing. Content they find helpful and useful, so that will tell me exactly what do I need to create content about from my experience and knowledge that will be valuable for my particular ideal client right here, Sarah. So, and I imagine that it would be how-to guides and tutorials on personal brand building, because that is one of her desires as well. Success stories of women leaders in tech, industry trend analysis and insights, thought leadership content around AI, resources, webinars, and podcasts featuring industry leaders and influencers. I'm curious if I have a Sarah Chen in the audience as well. Content that helps decode complex AI concepts into digestible, accessible information. Okay, and the last part that I do is to establish or think about what are the goals for a person like that who would have this behavior, this personality, this background, this fear, pain points, frustrations, desires, and this type of content needs. And in my case, what I thought is that her goals would be to establish a strong personal brand that aligns with her startup mission and values, because she wants to invest in herself but also her business, right? Even if it's not her own business, she wants to grow along with that company, to consistently create and share engaging content that positions her as a thought leader in her industry. So you see already the difference. Sarah will never want to be an influencer. Sarah would want to be an authority builder. No, Sarah would want to be known for her knowledge, for her wit. So I, as a personal brand strategist, I will never tell her, hey, make your presence on LinkedIn with a lot of flashy lights and colors, and post things like memes and what's trending today in the business world overall, and just funny stuff, right? That will not be consistent with her goals, and it will not help her at all. Okay. She would also want to attract and retain clients, investors, and partners through her personal brand, and potentially establish opportunities for herself as well for later on. She might not be decided what she will be doing for the next 20 years. So she's still exploring opportunities, and at this stage, she wants the right opportunities for her company and for herself. And she would want probably to effectively measure the impact of her personal brand efforts, because she's a very tech oriented person, and because she's so much into data and case studies, she would definitely want that. Okay, so I know it's quite a lot if you look at it, but again, imagine that you are doing this only 3 times, and if you want to truly grow your personal brand and establish yourself either way, authority or influencer. I think this exercise will expand your opportunities in so many ways. And this is my way. This is how I do it. And this is how I look at my ideal client, my ideal audience. You don't have to do it exactly the same. So think about what you want to know about your ideal audience. It can be a little broader than this. It can be, you can have multiple other information that you want to know. The point is here, just do this little exercise and see how much more clarity and easy it will be for you to actually start bringing your own personal brand online. So again, if you look at the template itself, it's pretty simple, right? So name, title, age, education level, gender, income level, location, professional background, pain points, frustrations, fears, desires, buying behaviors, content they find useful, and goals. And then of course come up with an action plan that you particularly will build for them. um, One more thing about your ideal client, and I think this is, anyways, a topic we could talk about on and on. But when you're starting, your ideal client is someone like you, okay? And this, why I say that, because obviously you you know your experiences, you know your background, you know what you've been through. So if you are providing a service or a coaching or digital marketing for someone, then the best way to do it is to focus on what you needed to know a while back. You will know best, you will understand your ideal client best at that moment, and you will be able to say at a very detailed level what they want, what they have pains with, and what you can solve for them. So, and of course you can have variations from there. You don't have to stick to just a limited, let's say, industry or niche, or you can expand. But if you don't know where to start with you. Who was you a while back. That's your ideal audience. If you are very clear on a product or service that you are particularly not only good at, but that you want to showcase in your personal brand, then again it's very easy because you know with whom you are working. So let's say again you are, I don't know, you are a CEO, right? In a big company, and you want your company to be known to your clients for the great service they do in a particular area. And you might cover multiple industries, you might cover multiple operations as well. So that is also great. So in that case, you want to talk about how your company is achieving those results for your clients and how your leadership helps them achieve that. So there you go. You already have two big content pillars. Educate and inspire. And in that case, again, your ideal client persona on LinkedIn will be your clients. The clients that you are having already. So again, you know them, you know what they want, you know their pain areas, you know what they want to be solved for. So don't reinvent the wheel. Start with what you know, and then it will become much, much easier to, progress from here and to expand and to do some other great stuff. Um, okay, another thing I wanted to tell you about the client persona is that it's always good to have at least a couple of them, if not three. Three is my magic number, actually. One is the direct, if you want, the very obvious ideal client for you, okay, for what you're doing, for what you're showing or selling, or just maybe connecting with. Another one is your wannabe. Okay, so who would be your ideal client expanding from wherever you are at this moment. And another one is someone who wants to become like you. So, not who was you a while ago, but who wants to become like you. So, I'll give you my example. I help entrepreneurs and new age leaders develop their LinkedIn presence through personal branding, content strategies, and coaching, right? In a nutshell. So, my ideal client personas will be new age leaders, startup founders who want to develop their personal brand on LinkedIn. That's very clear. Okay. Then another ideal client persona will be companies who want to develop their communications teams to improve their presence online and increase visibility and growth and their brand through content strategies that actually work in today's world. And another client persona, the wannabe me, will be digital creators who want to become personal brand strategists. So I hope you see what I mean here. So it's always good to think about these three: your immediate and obvious ideal client or ideal audience, the ones you are talking to all the time, and the ones that are most likely your clients or the ones that engage with you, okay, immediately. Then the ones that you also want to expand to, and maybe it's slightly broader or in a slightly little other domain. And then the ones who want to be like you, okay, and obviously establish a relationship with all of them because there's a lot to learn and offer to all of them as well. Okay, um so that was with the um, ideal audience. Allow me to take a sip of water. Okay, now we went through goals and through the ICP. And these were frankly the hardest part until now, because now the fun can really begin. Now it's becoming much more simpler. And I truly recommend you to go through these two things. So, what are your goals? And who is your ideal audience? Because when you do, everything truly becomes simpler. It's what I do with my clients as well. It's what I do for myself. And I hope you can see the benefit of that. Now, how you put it all together in a content strategy that works for you. And when I say work for you, means to give you the benefits of the goal of meeting the goals that you set. So I believe in very much in this 80-20 split, right? The Pareto that we all know about. And what I mean by that and is that, again, looking at your goals, you can choose one, right? Choose one door at the beginning, right? If you want to build authority in your field, then ideally make your content as much specific as you can. And think about 80% specific, 20% broad. I think I saw Lara Costa also saying something similar to this the other days on Twitter, and I love that because it's so intuitive, you know. So if you want to be known for something, if you want to reach to something, then you have to invest most of your time in that, right? At the same time, you cannot invest 100% of your time doing just one thing. So that 20% is also very important. And what I mean by 80% specific, 20% broad. So if you want to build your authority, 80% can be about educating, informing, case studies. This is how to, this is how I did something. So things that are practical, that people learn from, that have an immediate direct value, and that people can just take home and then think about, hey, maybe I want to also find out more about this person who is sharing this, and collaborate with them, or be friends with them, or why not become their client. The 20% is it can be still on your niche. So if you are a university professor, right, and let's say that you are teaching AI, okay, then of course you want to talk most of the time about educating, inspiring case studies on AI. But 20% it can also be inspirational. So things that you are doing to keep yourself informed, keep yourself motivated, keep the others that you're working with motivated. If you are a CEO, then what is your leadership style? So what do your teams want? What did you find out at the last team meeting? How do you establish a meaningful relationship with your clients before they are signing the contract with you? So again, it's think about it this way. It has to have the focus on what you want to achieve, but it doesn't have to be obsessively one thing. So you can obviously go a little broader as long as you are remaining faithful to your goal. Okay, one thing that is becoming quite obvious these days on social media is that the content that really appeals to people, if you want, and that attracts, let's say, visibility, which is needed as well, especially in the beginning, are extremes. And what I mean by extremes is either very informative or educational, or very inspiring and emotional. And I'm, if you know me a bit, I'm all for that emotional connection. But you can have both of them. So fluff doesn't work. If you just post, you know, this is how I conduct a live meeting. I set up the event. I maybe make a presentation and I go live. It's not useful, right? It's not useful for anyone. I'm just maybe recapping for myself. But if I want to still go into these extremes and keep it relevant to my niche and goal and ideal client, I can do this in two ways. So educational, I can talk about again how to, right? Or better yet, how I. And Ryan, if you're here, you'll fully agree with me on that. So how I do this, and so that you can too. Okay, if I want to go into emotional connection, because that's when people truly relate to us, after all, when we are, let's say, vulnerable in a meaningful way, not vulnerable like let me show you my kitties, right? But when you can establish a meaningful connections by actually telling how you overcame one of your ideal clients' pain in your way. I actually had one of these posts the other day when I was sharing how I became a very big frustration for me at that moment, in my way, and how I made a realization that you know um, got me to from point A to point B. And it had a fantastic response because people related to that, my audience related to that, and because my own experience was real, and because I could talk about it because I've been there. Okay, so in a nutshell, educational, emotional, informative, establishing a connection. These two are always, I think what a human wants after all. Don't get fooled about, pretty pictures out there. So, if you can keep it in this area, you'll be very well set up. And invest the time and effort in building content that is actually most of the content that is specific to your goals. So authority, make it 80% specific, 20% broad. Influencer, make it 80% broad, 20% specific. Okay, I hope this truly makes sense to you as well. Okay, now one thing that obviously you can do in order to build content as well is to ask yourself three questions. And this is something I always ask myself every time I create a content. What do you want to be known for? What do you want people to say about you when you're done posting, let's say? And who do you want to be known as? It ties back to your goals, it ties back to your ideal client. If you don't want to go through all that, let me set up the goals, and me be very clear on authority, influencer, who is my ideal client, let me make three client personas here, then at least go through these three questions, and it will still give you a lot to start with and make a meaningful personal brand presence online, and not only. Okay, Now, so obvious, and I hope that, with this start, making a content plan is becoming truly, truly easy. And because I have done this exercise for me and my clients, I'm creating the content at least 1 week in advance, maximum 2 weeks in advance, because I still want it to be actual and talk about real time experiences very often. But it becomes easy, right? Because it ties down to yeah, what you want to talk about. And now I want to show you something as well. So how do I build the content? And this is a tool that, again, I have built, and I'm working actually on improving it and making it a little more consistent, and probably make a little recap on it as well. But this is, again, my way of creating content. Now, of course, you can create so you can create content directly in LinkedIn. You can just post, right? You can schedule content in LinkedIn directly. You can use apps that are available. I have personally tried as well Taplio, and it worked pretty well. And there are lots of other tools out there that you can schedule and create content with. But if you want to be in control of how and what you are posting, I suggest that you are making a little view like this. I love to see what I'm doing per week as per my own criteria. So take this as a direction and just a way of doing it. So you remember we talked about ICP, and I always start with the ICP. So here would go my titles row, right? Here would go Sarah and Alex and, the wannabe me. Okay. Then for each of them, I would create content pillars. And these content pillars, obviously I'm showing you the template. I'm not showing you the exact calendar of my post right now. But let me know if you have questions and I'll go through them. Content pillars come back to your goals, right? So let me actually ask, right? So let me write them. So my first ideal audience would be the direct, let's say, ICP. Okay, let me just name them like that. I would obviously give them names or at least role titles. Then broader, so, or let me put new age leader. Okay, and then would be company needing content strategy. Content strategy. I make a lot of typos. Thank God for for corrections. And then wanna be me, digital creator. Okay. And I wouldn't leave it like this. I would add a little more details, or I just have my ICP very well defined there. And again, I know exactly what are their fear, wants, pain points, etc. Okay. And then, so once I have written my ICP, then I go to the content pillars. And the content pillars, the way I define them is 80% specific, 20% general in my case. So the first content pillar would be something educational, probably. And let me put it like that. Educate on specific topic. Okay. Then I would put case study on specific uh, pain versus goal versus desire, let's say. And then I would put, so let's not forget, we need also that the other 20%, right? Then I would put something like inspire how to overcome ICP pain. Okay. How I address specific ICP frustration. Okay, and maybe the new one would be, again, how to desire ICP. Okay, I hope this makes sense now to you. So why I put them like this? ICP and pains and desires refer to exactly what we have been through before, right? Because I'm creating content for my ideal audience, I'm not creating it for my eyes only. And if I have been through the exercise of understanding what my goals are and who is my ideal client, then obviously my content will be related to them. So I am striving to make sure that I keep the balance between being very specific and very helpful to being also a little more broad and give information. So, for example, educate on a specific topic that would be in the desire area of my ideal client can be, let me go to my ideal client, right? So one of her desires was uh, strongly communicate her expertise, vision, and unique value proposition. Okay, so if I create this content for this particular ideal client, then I will make it probably something on her expertise. So how I became an expert in AI. Okay, and what does that mean? And how can you do it too? For example, if I would put to address one of her pain points, let's say this one balances the challenges of leading a team, driving innovation, and building a personal brand. How I shuffle my 5 jobs in one, and how you can do it too. Okay, and talk about exactly how is that done, and strive to provide valuable inputs on managing several things at once and being no still for an authority in your field. Okay, so and then I would obviously try to be specific with this ones, and I can change them as well in time. And then I would come to my weekly calendar, and just select any of the days that I recommend you go 1 week in advance, because it will be simpler for you to create the content for you 1 week in advance, and then remain free for the for the remaining of the week, and just engage or take care of your business. And creating 5 meaningful posts, if you have this framework and setup in mind, it will truly be easy peasy. So I'll take Monday, and I know that for Monday I want to post on LinkedIn in the morning, and I will post something related to my ideal client persona one. Okay, the ones that I defined here. I will create content related to one of the topics that I have just built here. So maybe, let's say pillar 6 in this case, but obviously I will, redefine this with what it's all about. My purpose will be to educate and inform. Okay, then I will make this LinkedIn carousel, maybe, in the equation, and then I will actually write a post. Okay, now what again, you have to also write a post, and it sounds like a lot to do when you look at it like that, but you just have to do 5 posts. you know Let me put it that way. If you want to also have an overview of what you are doing during the week and how you are growing your brand and making sure that you're not just posting randomly about one single topic and become lucky from time to time, but you are consistent with your goals and your brand image. So basically, once you are becoming clear again on ICP and what you talk about, uh, building these content pillars and the plan for the week, it's really just an exercise of an hour, truly per week. Now, in terms of what to post, of course, there is a mix. I believe that, first of all, every post should not have more than one topic. I know that we have lots to say usually, but if you're telling people about everything in one place, so for example, I'm a CEO and I want to post, right? And my post on Monday will be like, this is how, and this is how I lead my teams in order to generate sales and establish relationship with my clients. And then this is what my clients say about our services. And this is also a case study that we have recently gone through. And by the way, one of our employees is also saying this stuff about working in team, and I've been on vacation too. It's a lot. It's a lot of information. Pick them, point by point. And if you have so many good stuff to share, make 5 posts out of that. Give information in bite size, because online content is easily digested and let's say absorbed if it's very specific, it's very simple and very clear and in small portions. So it doesn't mean you cannot talk about all those things. It just means that try to make it simpler rather than more complicated. Also, don't try to act smart, or you are smart. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Don't use jargon. Don't use very specific language that only your teammates will understand. ICP, for example, it's a term that only marketers understand. I have gone through it and explained it to you because it's meaningful right now in this conversation. But if I will post something about it, I will not say, build your ICP and then make sure your SM is also well planned. It will be meaningless to you. So I will rather go and say, know your why and whom you are talking to, and have a meaningful plan for your posting. So use simpler language rather than complicated one. Use small bites information to actually post, and do not try to just show it all into one post. If you have so much to say, you can also post an article. And in terms of what to post, when to post, it's again up to you. I think that you can post just text, and make sure that that information is again valuable for your audience. You can post documents in form of carousels. These are very well received nowadays. It's the variation of threads on Twitter, if you're more familiar with that as well. They work. Why? Because you want to go through it and you want to understand what it's all about and go through the information, and it keeps your audience engaged. Video is an excellent way to also keep people connected to you and to show your personality and who you are, and to learn more from you. So use a mix and use what's comfortable to you. Don't try to really just do it all, as long as it's taking you more time than the value that you are getting out of it. So you can very well just start with only some text, and that works perfectly well. Some of my best posts were just text. So there is no rule of only if you post carousels you will be successful, and you'll have lots of leads and views. It's nothing like that. It's really more important what you are putting in that post and how well you are addressing your ideal client's needs than the format that you are putting in. Um, Okay, so I think I will live with that, and maybe what I also keep for myself is that I'm creating some templates as well that I'm reusing as well for my posts. You can have swap files, for inspiration. You don't have to always reinvent the wheel. You can also get inspired as long as you're not copying from other people. And I also keep a list of hook templates, and will add to it also some CTAs. The reason why I put hook templates is because one rule of the thumb is that even if your content is really good and you put only one topic and you write it really simple in a way that talks exactly to your ideal clients in their language, you need to grab attention. And if you are in sales, you know that very well. So the first thing that you are saying is really important, and that's just how the hooks work. I am not staying a lot on exactly how to write now, but I hope this addressed most of your questions so far. Okay, so, sorry, let me come back. So let me just check if you have any questions that I need to be aware of. Let me know, and I will get it to you. So let me just check. Uh, will it be recorded? Um, it might be, yes, this will be recorded, and I will share the link with all of you after this presentation. And of course, you can always come to me also on DMs and let me know if there is something that you want to know a little more about. Um, and what is the tool that I'm using? The tool, yes, Monica, thank you. The tool I have just shared with you is something that I have created. It's a template in Notion. It's actually several ones. So one is for the ideal client persona, and one is for the content metrics. I can gladly share them with you with the caveat that the content metrics right now is something that I'm still working on. It might become a course later on. If you're interested, I will definitely share with you more details, but this is something I'm just working on right now. I showed it to you because maybe you want to create something similar. If you want this one in particular, again, let me know, and we'll talk about it. And how to identify your ideal client persona, the template I'm using, and even some examples is something I can share with you. Just give me a buzz in the DMs and I'll be happy to share it with you. Okay, uh, let me see if there is something else. Okay, good. So then, I'll try to go quickly through this one as well. I think that most of all is really important to consume good content in order to create content daily. If you want to become known for something, it's obvious, right? It's common sense that you need to be surrounded by that information audience continuously in order for it to make sense. Now, we talked about your goals, we talked about ideal client, we talked about content strategy. Okay, so what else is there? Once you are nailing this one, posting alone won't be sufficient on any platform, right? So if you want to boost your influence online and not just post for the heck of it every now and then, you have to be consistent. And of course, there are people who can help you with that, myself included. But if you want to do it for yourself, it's everyone can do this. You have to be consistent in order to see results. And one of the things that you also want to be consistent with is to engage with people, because if you are just posting and ghosting, right, you are just showing off. So don't show off, show up. And by showing up means to support others who are on the same journey, engage with your ideal client consistently and a lot, and also engage with the people who are reaching out to you and to your own content. It's the least you can do when you're coming on online. Three things I do in order to boost my reach, and I think they are quite undervalued, is I never go on DMs without engaging with those people first. So I really don't like cold pitching too, so much. So, I think that when you send a DM to someone, unless you have already known them for a while, I at least engage with their content several times. Why? Because first I want to see how valuable that they are to me, and I potentially to them. And I want to establish a familiarity and relationship before I go into DM and say, hi, you want to connect with me? So, and then, once I do that and engage with their content, obviously they will also start engaging with mine. And when we come to the DM, the conversation just flows. I don't have to introduce myself, sell myself, or anything. It just becomes natural. And that's how I build most of my relationships online. And that's how I get a lot of inbound leads as well, because people buy from people, right? So we all want to trust and relate to the person that we are working with. Explore different formats. So don't stick to something that you see that other people are getting famous for. Some are getting very good at creating great carousels. I'm still learning those, for example. I think it's a journey. You need to have design skills. You need to have time, to do them. So explore, see what works for you. See, if instead of doing carousels, you can do a quick 2 minutes video. See if you can go live, like this live, for example. You don't have to have a presentation, just talk to your audience about something you really want them to know about, or maybe know from them. Instead of just sending a message to someone, send a voice message. Again, it establishes a relationship, a connection. It's just completely different than a cold message. And I think a really, really important one is look at the comments and the questions that other people are addressing to you and to your ideal clients. And these are the questions that you need to answer in your posts. And when you do that, you are talking directly to what people want. It's a trick if you want, but I hope it makes sense to you as well. So if somebody asks right now, so will this presentation be recorded, it's obvious that there is an interest for seeing this at another time, or maybe rewatching it to digest the information. So maybe one of my posts that I could do next is, how I record this entire presentation, where they can find it, and maybe put it in small bits so that can digest it a little easier. I hope this example made sense. Okay, now I talked a lot about content pillars and ideal clients. I just want to make another thing very, very clear. Do not compare your starting point with someone else's current status. So when I started to really be present on LinkedIn, or when one of my clients wants to invest in their personal brand online, even if they are a CEO, or a startup founder, or if they are just starting as a student and they don't know exactly what they want to post about, I'm always telling them to not compare. I don't compare with Simon Sinek, right? I cannot have the same result that he's having today. I cannot have the same content. He might post about how he ate bananas at lunch and, get 10,000 likes in 1 minute. It won't happen to me, and I'm not interested to have that, right? I'm interested to build my audience, my authority, my own reputation online. So think about where you are in your journey, because we are all going through the same journey together, and make things that are relevant and useful for you, you know. Um, so when you're just starting, and I try to give this overview on starting, small audience, medium, large audience. And now, of course, you will ask, what does that mean? You can put your numbers to it. I didn't want to put numbers because it depends on your goals. So starting could mean from 0 to 1,000 followers, but in the same time, there are many great, coaches there, or leaders who are having 1,000 followers, and they're extremely successful and happy like that, and there are many who are having over 100,000 followers, and they don't make any sense, because they are just posting stuff that creates virality, but probably they have no leads. So define what it means to you, but consider like small audience, medium, small, sorry, starting audience, small audience, medium to large, and then huge one that is specific to your niche and your business. So when you're just starting, your goal is to engage and grow. If you want, this is not the time to really focus on making top notch carousels or video presentations. Don't waste your time on that. Rather, invest in engaging in others' content. Of course, start with your goal and your ideal audience, right? And when I say engage in others' content, I mean in your ideal audience content. Clarify your niche, your voice, your ideal client. Follow up on DM with the people you engage with in their posts, aiming to build relationships, right? So don't follow up and say, hey, I want to sell you something. No, follow up on DMs if you want to build truly relationships. See what you can learn from each other, how you can grow. Make coffee talks, create, spaces and invite people who are, maybe on the same journey, and see how you can collaborate and learn from each other, and definitely respond to all your comments. Okay, when you're having a small audience, your goal is to establish your brand. You have already started to grow. So now people are starting to watch your content, start to watch what you're doing, how you're doing things. Okay. So now is the time to start investing in your content on your niche and topic and ideal client. It's still not the time to make top notch carousels, okay? But this is the time to become really known and really good at creating content that converts your ideal audience. You practice it, you know what they want already. Now it's time to really apply it. Start being consistent. Okay, consistency is even more important than quality at this stage. And don't shoot at me. I truly believe that. Okay, think about your favorite, I don't know, show. Okay, if you don't know when that runs, how will you be there in order to see it, right? You'll miss it. Think about your favorite magazine. If you don't know when that comes out, you will miss it, right? So it's the same thing. People love to familiarity, and the moment you are consistent, that can be what consistent means. It can mean that you are posting daily, or that you are posting 3 times a week, or you are posting, 2 times a week, but you are consistent. You're always doing that, so people see you and start to notice you. Okay, start going live in collaborations, follow up at, in DMs, respond to all comments. This will always remain the same. But see, we progress from exploring more and commenting on others more to start building your authority and doing the content that will establish you as an authority. I think it's obvious I don't want to become an influencer, but I think it's the same if you want to become an influencer. You are going, through the same steps. Okay, and when you're having a larger audience, and I don't know, that can mean beyond 10,000, for example, followers. If that makes sense to you, it can be large also from 3,000 up, right? Then your goal is to start generating leads. Okay, of course you can generate leads earlier. I generated leads with 1,000 followers, and I still generate lots of inbound leads, but the focus right now could be only on generating leads, because you have built the fundamentals. You know what your clients want, you know how to create content that converts, so now you can focus only on leads. So now you can start expanding by creating, a lead magnet, by creating your website, by creating a newsletter, by creating, I don't know, templates, or, courses, or things that provide value, and they provide value to your audience. Engage with your ideal clients, try to get a little more exposure, get to podcasts in your field, appear in media, look for speaking engagements. So come out of your shell a little more here and lead the way. I think that's the thing. Okay. Uh, all right. So I wanted also to talk about your profile. Now that we talk about content, so I'm trying to really just get all the pillars, and I will just tell you one thing about your profile. Treat it as your landing page. Okay, and by your landing page, I mean, what do people see when they come to your profile? Do they just see a blurry picture, no banner, fuzzy headline, and not understanding what you're doing? Or is it very in your face what you're doing, what's the value you're providing, and it's all about your ideal audience and not just about yourself? Bad example, good example, okay? Bad example, your title only. Bonus points for bad example if it has also slang, okay, and very specific words to your niche. So for example, ADM turning GRM for CGRLS. Okay, so it can be account development manager in the consumer goods business, but who knows that, so you know that, and the people in your team, the people who want to collaborate with your potential clients will never know that. Okay, good example. I help my clients I help leaders in consumer goods um, uh, increase their ROI, double their ROI through efficient operations. It just sounds different, okay? I help you generate leads versus I am an SM manager, and that's it. So just be very clear, even if you are employed, even if it's your business, even if you are not employed, be clear, speak in English to make it like that. Just tell people like you would tell a 5-year-old that is very smart what you do, and what's the value you provide. A very, very simple formula I always use for the headlines for my clients is I help my ideal client, and here you define it, do this through that. Or I help my ideal client achieve X by doing Y. And it's clear and simple and straight to the point. Okay. Now, so I will maybe look. Let me just show you a few examples. Okay. So obviously, I talked a bit about the headline. Um, Another quick thing, on your profile. Again, if you treat it like a landing page, it will become a landing page for others as well. So you have here a link option where you can insert whatever link you need and want. So you can personalize this. I have today join live webinar on May 13th. Tomorrow I'll have obviously something else that takes you to my page, maybe to show you some of the other things that I'm doing. So personalize this, use it in your advantage. Another thing is put your creator mode on. From the top of my mind, this will be really helpful for you. It generates a lot of engagement, and when you put your creator mode on, you can also tell people what you talk about, okay, and be very specific there as well. So I always talk about art because that's one of the things that I'm passionate about. LinkedIn, content creation, personal branding, and storytelling for businesses. So you see, it's broad enough, but it's specific enough at the same time. Okay. Another quick thing, use your featured section. On desktop, you always see 3 things. On mobile, you see 2. Do not put more than 3 or 4 here, but use the featured section. Is the most undervalued section that you are having. What to put in the feature section? What's best about you? So one, I'm sorry. I cannot answer DMs right now, okay? But I will answer all your messages after. So here you can put, one of your case studies. That's what I did as well. That tells others that want to work with me what my clients obtained and what's a desired outcome for them. How to work with me, apply for a free discovery call. It's right here, so people just can connect with me directly. And what's the most recent thing that I want to talk about? So in this case, it's actually this webinar right here. Okay, and the last thing is your about section, which also tailor it in a way that speaks to your audience, what you do for them. So don't make it all about you, make it about your audience. Even if you are employed and your goal is to grow in your role, expand your opportunities in that company, which is fantastic. It's a lot of work to do there to establish your personal brand. Talk about what you're doing for others, because you are working for something, right? You're not working for yourself there. Okay, so I know it's quite a few points, but I hope there are, what will be useful for you at this moment. We can talk about profile as well in another time if you want. And another thing is how to use the algorithm in your advantage. Well, there are lots of things out there that people tell you how not to, what to use, what not to use. I give you here a snapshot of what is the latest and greatest on the algorithm in 2023. Sorry. And of course, you can apply this to your own. But here's what works for me out of this. Post consistently. Okay, be consistent, be specific. Consistent means if you just post once a week or once in a while, you will not see results on this platform. You will not see results on any online platform, right? So ideally, post 3 times a week. Okay, make a content plan in advance. Make it your way. Use somebody to make it for you. Use a template, however you want and works for you. But make sure that if you want to go on this journey, you are consistent also with how you represent yourself online. Make it specific to your ideal audience, again, in the way that is aligned with your goals. Okay. um, do not use outside apps. LinkedIn has this option to schedule content as well. So while you might use a template that I like this, that I have created to create content for a week in advance, right? Take that content and just go in your LinkedIn and start a post, mind your post, let's say, okay, and schedule it. You can schedule it for any time, any other day, at any time that works for you. Okay, you don't need another tool. You just then press schedule and that's it. And I'll discard this one. So you don't need other tools. Why? Because and it's natural to happen this way. The algorithm would always punish the content that is coming from outside the network. Okay, then best moment to publish. I personally believe this is a myth. And when I hear people saying, 8 a.m. is the best moment to publish on Tuesday and 11 a.m. is the best moment to publish on Wednesday, it's crap to me. So the best moment to publish is first of all specific to your audience, your ideal client, and your region. So if I am in Romania and my ideal client is mostly based in US, then what's the best time for me to publish? Right? Will it be 8 a.m. Romania time or 8 a.m. US time? So think about these things. Don't just take what you're hearing for granted. Make it specific to you and be consistent. What I do, and I post daily, I establish actually one single time when I'm posting in the morning, and I try to post before people would start to work, so just before 9 a.m. US time, because that's where most of my audience is based. And that's a good time because it also covers Europe and Asia, because I have a growing audience as well from these regions that I want to collaborate with and see my content. So do what works for you and use your common sense to also filter that, and you'll be very good. Rich format. I think that one thing I agree is that video, it's really coming very strongly. So if you want to explore video, now is the time. People want to see you, want to connect with you, so it's natural they want to engage with videos a little more. Right now it doesn't seem like it has a lot of impact in terms of likes and views, but it does have an impact in terms of leads if you're interested in that. So by all means, try video content as much as you can. The other thing is documents. So when you upload a picture, let's say on LinkedIn, try to upload it as a document instead of a picture. Because it really just it's something that also LinkedIn seems to encourage right now. How you do that? Okay, so start a post, and you have here these options. I'm on desktop, but you have something similar on mobile, only that I think that these options will be on top, not on the bottom. So I create my post, let's say picture post, okay, and I could upload a photo, okay, but I would better upload a document, okay. And you save that picture that you want to upload as a PDF, that's a document, and upload it, and it will appear the same way. Sorry, saved it as a draft. So for example, like Noshin here, right, she put a lovely picture with herself, and she might have put a picture, only a JPEG, right, or PNG, whatever, but she could have just saved exactly the same picture as a PDF and uploaded, and it would have had maybe an even better reach in terms of algorithm hacks. Okay, what else? Let me see what is good here. Creator mode on. I just showed you that on your profile. I think it's powerful and it's working. Do not add more than 3 hashtags. LinkedIn said it's between 2 and 6 hashtags that really work. There are posts that people are putting to every word they're typing a hashtag. It looks a little packed, okay, a little too packed when you do that. Try to just write what you want to write, a post without hashtags or as much as possible, and add the hashtags at the end, and make them only 3, maximum 4. Because if there are more, you will be punished by the algorithm, and it's also looking like begging for attention, to be very honest. um, Also, do not tag more than 15 people to your post. I know that for some sounds a lot, but many people use this trick to tag people. Here's the thing about tagging people whom you don't know. If you write a post and tag Simon Sinek or Gary Vee or Bill Gates, okay, thinking that by just tagging them you will get exposure from your audience, that doesn't work if they don't reply back. Because the platform is built in such a way that if you tag someone, and if they respond back, if they like your post, or if they engage with your post better, or if you have been on a DM with them before, then you will be shown to that person's audience as well. But if you just tag someone and that person doesn't interact with you at all, it ignores you, because it's like, who is this person who is tagging me all of a sudden, out of blue sky, then you will be punished by the algorithm. And again, I think it's common sense, because if you are just chasing likes and like that, it's normal that the algorithm will try to clean up and make sure that you are not doing stuff like that. So tag only the people that you really engage with and they are aware of. I don't know, maybe you have been to a conference and it's been amazing, and you want to tag the conference leader, and some of your colleagues or the people who are on the stage. Of course you can tag them then, right? Because they will see it, and they will engage with it, and it makes sense. You've been there, you know what you're talking about. Bonus points if you interact with them before and say, hey, I want to post this, you want to make it, in a collaboration, or you want to add something to it. You will see the impact of something like that. But don't just tag someone like, Bill Gates, just to get audience, because you will not get it. Okay. uh Commenting your own post. It works, not the first comment, but it works in a way that, the way I use it is by, I post content, and then, I post a comment with an extra information or an extra question in order to engage the audience, see how they feel, see how that the message was relevant to them, etc. Um, Another thing that I found funny is maximum 10 emojis per post. I didn't know that until I saw the LinkedIn stats. Again, makes sense. I personally love emojis, but just be mindful. It might be better to have 10 emojis per text. So you can look at this again, see what works for you, and what doesn't, and explore with those things. One extra little tip I want to give you. So first of all, put your profile on creator mode. No matter your role, no matter what you do, you will see more options for your analytics, for your profile update, and for exposure as well. And again, if you are on desktop, you can do this one thing. So this is my feed, right? You saw me. I have just refreshed it. The default update in LinkedIn is sort by top. Okay, what does that mean? That only the top posts that are right now posted on the platforms are shown to me. And this means posts that already are engaging or from people that I am frequently engaging with. So, for example, Jesse just posted this 2 hours ago. Okay, and it's a good post as usual because he's having fantastic content, and he has already a good engagement, right? But you see, it's not the most recent one. And what it means is that I will only engage with content that is already pushed by the platform. Okay, and it might not be my entire audience. So do this instead. Instead of sort by top, sort by recent. Okay, and voila, you are having the very last. So here you're having all the recent posts, the last ones. See, 1 minute ago, I don't know, 1 minute ago, 1 hour ago in this case, but it showed it to me because this person just commented on it, and that person is in my link, is in my network. How does this help you? A lot, because if it's the most recent one, you have the opportunity to explore much more from your current network than if you are doing only with your top engagements, and you are getting into your ideal client being the first, or to an actually broader audience. So do this. You will thank me later. It's actually going to do wonders for you. uh okay, now, okay, so I think this is what I had. Let me see if you are having a little more questions, and if not, one second. Okay, I will try to. Guys, thank you so much for the wonderful comments. I really appreciate it. I will then try to send this very quickly to you when I have it fully uploaded, the recording. I really thank you for being here, for listening to it. If you have any other questions, give me a buzz in the DMs. I would love to connect with you. And I'll see you next time then. Thank you. Take care.